See if I can do this with one hand. Okay, no one's joining. Whatever. So I want to talk today. We like my new mask. It's pretty cheap. I needed a US flag. So about Will Smith and Jada Smith. And the reason I want to talk about this is not just because it's a hot topic right now, which it is, especially yesterday, but because I think they were trending on Twitter yesterday. So yeah, it's not just that I want to talk about it because it's, you know, something that everyone's talking about right now. The reason I want to talk about it, I think a big reason, is the fact that Will Smith had a very large impact on me when I was a senior in high school, along with this other guy who's a YouTuber. But the way he spoke about changing the world and work ethic and a spiritual responsibility to make every group that you come into contact with a better group, right? And I think the way he described that, and he said that he learned it from his grandmother, it really affected me, especially during that time period when I was a senior in high school and I was kind of becoming a legal adult and developing a work ethic for the first time. Honestly, it was for the first time that I developed a consistent work ethic. Before that, I had kind of relied on any talent I might have had as far as academics, specifically academics, because there were short periods where I was a consistent hard worker with regards to sports, athletics. What's up, Laura, Melissa? But it was never something I could maintain. And I think a work ethic is something that you can't turn it on and off. You have to always be on or always be, whatever level you're at, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. I think there's a lot of truth to that statement. So Will Smith really affected me and helped me. And there's this book, and I gave it away. I gave it to one of my good friends, Grant, actually. It's called The Last Lecture. And Will Smith recommended people read that book, and that's actually where I got that book from. Was one of his interviews. I can't remember what interview it was, but The Last Lecture is about a man who has cancer and he knows he's going to die, and it's actually a concept that he was already using, or I think it was part of the school he was teaching at, which was Carnegie Mellon in wherever Carnegie Mellon is. I think it's in Pittsburgh. And for him, it became a reality because he got cancer. So he wrote this book, and he did a speech, a presentation on, and it was a reality for him. It was his last lecture before he died. And he actually ended up performing it in front of Oprah. And it's extremely moving. I would highly recommend people go and watch that. I'll probably link it when I get back. And so I gifted my friend Grant my last lecture book, and it was during that time period when I was a senior in high school that I bought that book and I read it, and it profoundly affected me. And I think it's one of those books that changed me forever. So listening to Will in interviews and just sharing what books have affected him. Another one was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. yeah, whatever books, like the Quran, anything. I still need to read the Quran. So, and another book I found through Will Smith was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's my favorite fiction book of all time. It's about a shepherd boy and trying to find his way in the world. And whenever I feel lost, I try to read that book. And it's a short read, so I'd recommend people check it out. I bought it used on Amazon. You can get it used on Amazon for like $3, $4, $5 probably now. So, and I can go on and on probably in the ways, you know, Will affected me, but I think it was principally a work ethic, a consistent work ethic, and that last lecture concept, as I said, and Paulo Coelho's book, which I think is his magnum opus. It's probably his greatest book that he's written. Certainly his most famous book, and his most highly sold book as well. His big dog. So the title of this video is Will and Jada. So I'm going to talk about both Will and Jada in the interview on the red table. Not the round table, the red table. I swear everybody's copying me. No, I'm just kidding. I think that red table's been going on for a bit. I'm not really sure. But I watched the interview, and I would like people to put in the comments, or the live chat, but the comments, because you know, more people will see that, your thoughts on that interview if you have seen it. And if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend people go check it out, because it's quite interesting. And you know, they're famous people, obviously, so they have to do PR control. Eckhart Tolle, yeah, he's great. Power of Now, I read that book. I actually gave it to my mom. That's another good one. But they're famous people, so they have to do public relations control, right? Which is understandable, I think. I don't denigrate them for that. You know, if I was that famous, I would want to control my image to a certain extent, right? Especially if everybody's talking about it. And I think that's why they came forward and said something, right? But I was when I watched that, I was very disappointed. I was very disappointed, you know, and you know, people's personal relationships, if they're having trouble with them, I don't think you should let that affect your view of their work. Because the work is the work, right? You can't deny the work. You can't deny the work ethic. And Will Smith is still Will Smith, right? But I was very sad, and somewhat sad, and just very disappointed that relationship went south. Because I mean, I'm just gonna say what I think, and if people take offense to this, so be it. But I mean, you could see the hurt on his face, I think, the pain, and I could be imagining it, but and I'm not the best at reading emotions, but I think I'm pretty good at it. And I think I could see some pain there, quite a bit of pain, actually. And he's an actor, so he's good at hiding his emotions and showing emotions that he wants to show. But you know, I think that's a betrayal of what she did, especially as a woman. And the reason for that, of course, and again, a lot of people that know me would say this is a huge double standard, and it is a double standard. I'll get to that in a second, Melissa. She just asked what Jada did. It is a double standard, but I've come to the conclusion that, and I think it's truth, men and women are on different standards. So, you know, double standard, it basically means two different standards, right? It doesn't mean one standard is better than the other. It just means two different standards, even though it kind of doesn't sound like that. So for those that don't know, she slept with August Alsina, who's a rapper. I think he's younger than I am. He's like 21 or 20 or something. I just dated myself again, guys. And that too, the fact that he's so young, it was like, wait, no, this looks better. I think was also even more salt in the wound, so to speak. More insult to injury. And going back to the double standard thing, what if Will had done this? Who's a man, by the way, and who has a higher sex drive than Jada. And that's not really a debate. He has more testosterone than Jada. Yeah, I'll research that, Melissa. But Will has a higher testosterone level consistently than his wife, Jada, because he's a man, and he's quite a healthy man, as far as I can tell. 6'2", 190, 180, about there. No, he's like 190, 200, depending on how in shape he is. I know for I Am Legend, he was 200, a lean 200, lean muscle. So he's a stud, you know, he's a stud. He's Will Smith. He's one of the most famous men in the world, probably the most famous black man in the world. Maybe Denzel is a little more famous, but I would doubt it. I mean, he won a Grammy, and he also won an Oscar, which I don't think anyone else has done that. No, Eminem has, I think. Yeah, Eminem has. And I might be missing somebody. But I want to say this too. We don't know if Will had an affair or not, but you would think they would bring that up. You would think they would bring that up if he did, you know, because then it would be, I think, in a way more justified. But I think, like I said, the fact that she slept with this rapper dude, yeah, so Melissa just said adultery is a sin. And I was watching this, Rolo did a live stream on this yesterday. There is an animal over there. Don't know what. I just spooked it though, I heard it run away. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you look at their kids, one of them is like wearing dresses and he's a male, which, you know, it's difficult commenting on this stuff because, you know, inevitably someone's gonna get offended, but, you know, men are men and women are women. Obviously, there's a black sheep, 1 in 100 every once in a while, like hermaphrodites, right? I remember my cousins teaching me about that concept when I was like 12 or 13. But that's a genetic mutation, and it's extremely rare. It doesn't happen that often. So I think, you know, it's just shows the power of socialization and psychological operations, which I think a lot of these elites have contributed to, is turning boys into girls and girls into boys. But back to Will and Jada, I think the worst thing was she didn't even seem remorseful. She didn't even seem sorry. And her justification for it was, I wanted to feel good again. I was like, dude, that is rough. That is rough. And this is a concept I don't think I did mention it in my marriage video too. It shows the difficulty of maintaining a long-term marriage. God damn it. Yeah, I agree. I don't think she was sorry at all. And it shows that, like I said, the difficulty of maintaining a long-term marriage. And when I say long-term, I don't mean 20 years. I mean, well, yeah, I guess I do mean 20 or 30 years, right? Because humans have this expanded lifespan now. And I mentioned that in my marriage video. So you know, I just kind of felt bad for him in a way, and disappointed that a man that alpha could be that beta in his relationship. And I don't think that's a good assumption to make, that he must have hurt her beforehand. I think that's you know, I think that's looking at human nature a little too one-dimensionally. Because I think there are people out there that would never cheat on their partners no matter what. And whether or not Will Smith is one of those people, I don't know. But I know he's, in my opinion, too good for her. Right, yeah, and I'm not disqualifying anybody's experiences whatsoever, because everyone has their own unique experiences, right? But it just kind of confirmed my suspicion that he is better, he's too good for her. And look at Stephen Curry's wife, and Rolla talked about this too. This wasn't recent. I think it was last year, which she was basically complaining that she wasn't getting as much spotlight, if my memory serves me right, as Stephen Curry. And she was saying how she wanted to be, I can't remember what the verbiage, like she said adored or pretty again, or beautiful again. And I don't know, the people were like, some people, like, I think I agree with this opinion, is why isn't she just feeling grateful that she's married to the MVP of the NBA? Only one woman can say that. And that's not enough? That's not enough for her? She wants more? I think it says something about our culture too, that this isn't a one-off. It's something you are seeing consistently. Like teaching young men that they'll never be good enough, or just men in general, right? And maybe it's just a fame thing, but I don't think so. And just watching the interview, I think you could see the pain. You could see she wasn't sorry. And for whatever reason, he's not nexting her. It is about respect. And that is the ultimate sign of disrespect to a man in the context of a relationship, is sexual adultery, right? And for women, it's different. Women can get way more hurt just by and I think they do, if you say that you love another woman, right? Whereas if you sleep with a woman, that's more forgivable, I think, if you don't actually have feelings for her. I would say most women are like that, except maybe ones who are socialized like men. But I think at the core, women are way more concerned about their personal, emotional, how they feel about their relationship with their man, more so than you know, sexual relationships, right? So I think that's a differing factor in men and women. And that's not to say, you know, all women would be okay with, or even, you know, a lot of women would be okay with their dudes just going and banging whatever. But I think it illustrates the difference. And that is why I said that that's the ultimate sign of disrespect to a man. So I was just thinking about my brother. I had him as a background, as my background. Will, and he's like, what, are you in love with him? I was like, no, maybe a little. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. But he just had a profound impact on me, a very deep impact on my consciousness, and having an internal locus of control, because his work ethic is insane. yeah, it's usually about ego, I think, if men stray. Either an excessive ego, and yeah, like I think Bobito just said that about ego, right? Men or women. Just speaking about men, either it's an excessive ego, like I am the man, I can bang whoever, or man, my girlfriend's she's kind of hideous. Let me see if I can bang other chicks. And that's just one example, right? Or you just don't feel virile enough for whatever reason. So, you know, maybe your chick's beautiful and you still feel that way for whatever reason. You still, you know, have that insecurity. And as far as the woman ego, you know, there is that change that women go through, right? Menopause, and I think that profoundly affects all women. Even though I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about that really. I might have talked about it with my cousins once, my girl cousins, but it's a good point. Hormones are getting crazy. Yeah, it's true. Women want to feel, you know, their feelings, right? They want to feel love. It matters what they feel in the moment. Whereas, that's why I think a guy like Will, I don't think he cheated. Because I think he's one of those guys, and just talking about women's feelings, when you're a man, like there's that phrase, right? All I got is my word and my balls, right? Who was that? Scarface? I think that was Scarface, Al Pacino. And Jay-Z says that too. My balls and my word is all I have. What you gonna do, homie? I can dodge and jab. Hove. We don't know for sure he didn't cheat, but let me finish my point on that. I don't think he did, because he seems to me like a man that sticks to his word, especially at the age he's at. And you know, for women it's different. Women are not expected to stick to his word. To stick to their word, excuse me. Women are not expected to stick to their word. Whether, you know, that's obviously politically incorrect to say, but it's true, you know. A woman has every right to change her mind. And men really don't. And it's one of those unfair things, I think, about the sexes. Whereas another unfair thing, and I saw some people talking about it in the live chat just now, is the fact that women definitely feel less valued and are less valued, I would say, by society at large when they're no longer young and fertile. Because there's not a demographic that is more protected, more valued, more sought after than young females. Because that's the future of our society. That's the future of the human race right there. We don't have young females, we don't have a future. And conversely, just adding to the point of the unfair differences, let's go this way, between, yeah, the sun and the moon, right? We have complementary energies, complementary beings. And likewise, there's not a demographic that is more disposable, more useful in the sense of, I can't think of a better word than disposable. Readily used, ready to be used, than young men. Who protects the country from foreign invaders? It's not old men. It's young men. You know, who was first on the D-Day beach, into the jaws of death? It wasn't young women. It wasn't old men. It wasn't middle-aged men. It was the young bucks with all the testosterone and the energy, right? And again, just another example of, you know, unfairness, right? And everyone wants things to be fair, and I think that's why some people want there to be that blank slate equality, but that blank slate equality doesn't exist. So that's kind of all I wanted to say, because he was my hero as a senior in high school. I think someone said that they share him too as a hero. And you know, the thing with mentors is you have to move on once you get to a certain point with mentors. So yeah, Will Smith, I'm disappointed. Oh, whoops. Will Smith, I'm a bit disappointed, right? Like I said, sad. I feel for him. And it just goes to show you can be the highest box office earner in history, and your wife can still push you around. So alpha is contextual, right? Anyways, that's all I wanted to say about that. What do you guys think? I know some people were having a good chat in the live chat, which I love that. But if people want to expand in the comments, and then the people who haven't seen it yet, what do you guys think? Let me know. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this walk on this fine summer evening. Stay frosty. All the best. Till next time, folks.